Before we start the review proper, I want to go over very quickly what exactly is going on here, since this is not a theory video and it is Theory Thursday today. If you guys recall, back when I was catching up on Star Versus videos, I skipped some filler episodes that you guys recommended I skip, episodes which were not important to the future arcs of the story, with the promise that at some point I would go back and review those episodes at a later date. And since I need some less time-intensive videos, let's say, to fill time here on my channel while I'm away this weekend at Beach City Con, and since I was supposed to be reviewing these on like the past 3 or 4 Sundays or something and never got around to it, I figured I'd go ahead and do these now. I figured I'd get them out of the way so we can move on to something else once I'm done. Reviews of all 5 of the episodes that I skipped will be going up on the channel over the next 5 days. If I've forgotten an episode somewhere that I skipped, please let me know. I think I caught all of them, though. All of that said, though, let's talk about this episode, Naysaya. Marco has finally decided he's going to ask out Jackie, and let me just say, it's super weird to go back to before he was dating Jackie, when I am totally caught up with the show at this point. But every time he goes up to try to ask her out, he starts blurting out things that he's insecure about, rather than the question that he actually wants to ask. Eventually, this weird new compulsion of his manifests in the form of a tiny little head sticking out of his neck called a Naysaya, which, of course, Jennah is the one to inform us about because, of course, she would know what a Naysaya is. She's just that awesome. The Naysaya is a demon curse which manifests specifically when you try to approach someone and engage in a romantic relationship with them. And so, of course, there is only one candidate for who could have done this, and that's Tom, and yeah, he did it. He doesn't even try to deny it, though. He is kind of apologetic. He's about as apologetic as Tom at this point in the show could have been expected to be, though he does make fun of Marco pretty much immediately once he realizes this is the first time that Marco has asked anybody out since the, what was it called, the Blood Moon Ball, or whatever. He says he put the curse on Marco to prevent him from asking out Star, but I like to put a different spin on it. You guys, I'm sure at this point you can guess what that is. And he reveals that the Naysaya goes away faster, the less insecure the person afflicted with it is. So Marco figures he's pretty much doomed. And Marco tries to solve the problem in a couple of very Marco-ish ways. He first tries to reason with the Naysaya, offering to give it something that it wants in exchange for its silence, at least until he's finished asking her out. But when this fails and Naysaya instead falls back on his nature, Marco steps up. He preempts it by telling Jackie all of his insecurities, or at least all the ones he can think of at the time, I guess, right there in front of all of their classmates. He opens up. It's very raw and emotional. And finally, it reaches a point when Naysaya, rooting through his mind, can't find anything else to embarrass him with. And even then, Marco doesn't insist that Naysaya leave immediately. Jackie, who of course doesn't care about any of Marco's insecurities, asks him to the movies. He goes with her and he takes Naysaya with him because Naysaya's never been to the movies. This was just such a Marco ending. This thing almost ruined his life, and he was still kind to it in the end. His first attempt at overcoming this curse involved being nice to it, and he was still nice to it even after it betrayed his trust. I really liked this episode. Like, for some reason I thought that this was an episode that people didn't like. I can't imagine why. It's really good. It's super funny. Like, it's almost cringy at the beginning when Marco starts spouting stuff that he's insecure about. But then Jennah gets involved and is, of course, the best part of the episode. For at least most of the episode. Her humor is, of course, on point. I really enjoyed it. The Jennah stuff, the scene with Tom, and a scene that I almost forgot until just now, about halfway through the episode when, before he physically emerges from Marco's neck, Naysaya compels Marco to bait this very reasonable jock character into bullying him because Marco secretly feels like he deserves to be bullied. They were all hilarious. All of that was hilarious. And then the episode takes that complete 180 where Marco opens up and is so emotionally raw. And then the Marco-Jackie romance subplot that's been going on for 2 seasons now finally furthers itself when I didn't expect it to in this episode. I expected this episode to just be filler. It's just such a perfect ending. It's just such a perfectly Marco ending, because really, at the end of the day, that's the kind of person that Marco is. No matter how nervous he is, no matter how insecure he is, or how unsure he is, when it really comes down to it, when something is really important to him, he steps up. It was just great. I mean, heck, I even liked the character of Naysaya, even though he was the clear antagonist of this story and screwed up Marco's life pretty bad for that one day that he was screwing up Marco's life. This is a character who could have very easily been super annoying, and he really wasn't. All that said, though, guys, what did you think of Naysaya? If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below or over my Discord. Link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.